Okay, fantastic. Let me do this, yeah. So, really thorough research. Thank you for that. I read the report on Pot William for the Casa Maria. Okay, so
Yep.
this it's a little bit too much research, but it just requires some common sense. Okay, so let me bring you through it. Okay, I read the research, but here's the thing. Okay. Let's deconstruct each of the points that you made or that your GPT made on behalf of the client. Okay, so let's take a look at what you wrote here, right? This is right, right? So he's vision oriented and brand protective, right?
Yes.
Okay, here's a question. Did he hire us to fulfill his vision or did he agree to follow our business plan?
If Pat William signed the contract, I think he agree with the business plan that we
Correct,
have proposed.
correct. Okay. So let me tell you what it seems, let me tell you what the correct opposite would be, okay? If
Yes,
William
sir.
came to us and said, hey, look, I'm going to start a brand new, amazing villa, okay? It's going to be like this, and I'm going to hire you to run it for me. Here's the plan. That's a vision,
Yep.
okay? This is not a vision. This is just saying, I don't have the commitment to follow through on what I just said, okay? So that is, you have to kind of like be able to interpret what disorientation is, okay? So clearly, this gentleman does not understand brand. Clearly, he has a very cheap understanding of brand. He thinks brand just means that I say brand is what I say it is, okay? The most common misunderstanding I see with people who fail to understand brand is that they're unwilling to pay the price to build a brand. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got it.
Right. So if I talk about brand, but I'm not willing to serve customers or to make sure that people actually experience my product, and I expect that every person who comes in should pay the maximum price without any reputation, without anything, then that is probably not somebody who takes brand seriously. Okay? Most people who take brand seriously really understand about how to give back. Okay, so that's kind of like that. No problem on professional articulate. That's fine. Okay, that's cool. Analytical and detail oriented. Sure, but if he's so analytical and detail oriented, why didn't he understand the business plan? And he has to now kind of have us re-explain it. Okay. So entrepreneurship and decisive. Um, Not really. Okay. If he was really entrepreneurial, sir, he would not go through us.
Yeah.
And if he was really entrepreneurial, he would not build something that looks like everything else. He would build something completely, radically different. Okay? That's kind of what entrepreneur means, right? You are taking a very new and novel approach towards the marketplace. Okay? You see something nobody else sees. That's exceedingly rare. Okay? So I would say this, right? Somebody who's an entrepreneur is probably doing, I think probably like this. This would probably be a more entrepreneurial, okay? Building something that's really unusual, not very commonly seen, that's entrepreneurial, okay? Building a standard property and calling it brand, that's just called being stupid, okay? That's called being a moron. And the only way that you should react to that is to laugh, okay? That's the only way that you should react to that is to start laughing as loudly as possible. And when they ask you why, you say, this is the most clown move I've ever seen. Okay? So basically, what you have is a delusional person here in most ways. Okay? Uh, Pure delusion. I'm going to take a standard product. I'm going to try to gain as much benefit for myself as possible. I'm going to call greed brand, and I'm going to say that being common is entrepreneurial. Okay? You see that? It's all kind of a hallucination. All right? Now, this is your instinct that you need to build up as a product researcher. Okay? You need to know garbage when you see it, and that is garbage, okay? That's basically a lie. It's completely a lie, all right? Um, the GPT told you exactly what it was, right? It is like signing up to do a high intensity personal trainer and then saying that you are sore and the exercises are off track. That's exactly what it sounds like, okay? It sounds like somebody who's like, yeah, I'm totally committed to get this thing done and quits after a week. This type of person is a clown, okay? That's all it is a pure clown. Not a decisive leader, not entrepreneurial. A real, I think it's a real example of somebody who's a waste of time, okay? So, since they wasted our time, they need to pay, all right,
Yes.
for that mistake. Okay, now this is where judgment comes in. Okay, so the the more you start doing this research, okay, at some point you need to be able to frame it down. Okay, you need to actually decide what you want to do. Okay, he does not have a Ferrari. Does he have a Ferrari? Have you seen his property?
Sorry, sir.
Does he have a Ferrari? Have you seen his property?
Uh,
Okay, let's look
I
at it.
don't know yet, but
Let's look at it. Let's take a look and see what it actually is. Okay. Here's
yes,
another problem, sir. Okay, this is Cheetan. Where do you live, by the way?
I live in Jogja.
Oh, okay, good, good. Okay, I think people who live in Jogja are a little bit more grounded in reality. Okay, people who live
Yes,
in
sir.
Jakarta are not really grounded in any reality at all. They live in a kind of sort of a woozy land. All right, so let's take a look at Mr. Woozy Land and see what we see here. Now, okay, here's my point. Generally speaking, we should be um, we should try to be as objective as possible, okay? But you should also know when something is just so distorted, there's no point in listening, okay? It's completely nonsensical. It's completely a farce, okay? So let's take a look at Casa Mireya, okay? We'll find Casa Mireya. Here it is, okay? And let's go ahead and take a look at it. And oh my God, okay, do you see anything in particularly luxurious about this property?
It seems like a standard in BV, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. That is true. We tend not to go after luxury. Okay. Um, if there's anything that is a little bit more exceptional, is probably the view. Okay, the view is quite nice. All right. Um, but this is not a high-end product, and it's not in a luxury location either. Okay. So the way that this person is thinking is delusional again, and that's also okay. Here's what I consider luxury. Okay, this is what I consider luxury. Okay, I consider the way that MacBooks are built to be luxury. Okay, this is the way I see it. Nobody had to make that look clean and nice, but they did anyway.
Okay.
Okay, nobody who is designing that computer, the majority of people working on that computer will never see the inside. They'll never see the inside. Yet it is well designed. It looks rather, look at the teardown and Asus laptop, right? Okay, let's take a look at the inside, and it looks kind of like this. Yeah, a bit different, right? Not as organized, not symmetrical, kind of, stickers and labels everywhere, okay? So that is not luxury, because it shows no care is put into it, okay? So we sell, if we keep on wanting to talk about it, we could say we sell a luxury service, okay? Because the software and the systems that we build are state of the art. Nobody has any systems that are more powerful, more well thought out, more intelligent than our systems, okay? So it's like we have a beautiful daughter and they have an ugly son, okay? So it's like kind of, the pairing has to sort of match, okay? So that's my take on it. Here's another example of luxury. I'll give you another example of luxury, okay? I used to work at this company called Aman. And Alman is, I guess, very luxurious. They, I'll show you what they do. So this is their product. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not saying that this is, whatever, but this should be the standard of luxury, okay? Care, attention to detail, design, architecture, the whole thing, okay? And for that, they are also charged exorbitant rates. Exorbitant rates. They charge, as you can see their rates, right? It's not cheap to stay at
Yeah.
Amman. So pretty expensive. But this is why they're also empty, you see? It's like, it's New Year's and they still have rooms available. Okay, but my point also here is I'll give you a hidden feature. So when I was looking at Alman, when I was working at Alman, one of the things that was pretty interesting. Okay, Alman Kila restaurant. Okay, so their restaurant is here, and it's a very beautiful restaurant. It overlooks the ocean. It's very, very well built, okay? And it's really nice. It's very well designed. I took my dad there when he came to Bali, and he went around to the bathroom, but on his way to the bathroom, he passed by the kitchen. When he passed by the kitchen, he said, this is pretty interesting because they had live fish tanks. So live fish tank for food. The live fish tanks that they had basically are like this, right? And most Asians who sell seafood will put the fish tanks in full view so that you can see that it's quality fish, right? They had live fish
Yes.
tanks in the back of the kitchen where nobody could see it. So none of their guests would actually expect the fish was live, but it was, you see? That I think is luxury. Okay, that's how you know you're dealing with somebody who is thinking about quality. They let the quality speak for itself. They don't need to keep on, whatever, saying that this is one thing or the other. Okay, all right. So that's basically the analysis. All right. This gentleman is not our customer. This gentleman is probably a scammer. Okay. The way I see it, he approached us through a direct partner sign up because there's a discount when he does that. And then he was looking for something cheap, probably to avoid paying any fees to the salesperson for commission. And he ended up costing more, actually. So that's probably Kyla's fault, okay, at this point. She wasn't able to screen and see that this was the intention of this type of customer, okay? And that's why we sometimes have salespeople because they need to watch out and make sure that this is okay. Yeah. The intention of a direct partner rebate is to give value back to a partner who is able to understand. But clearly they don't understand. Clearly they only came here because they liked what we had, they wanted to buy it, and then as soon as they realized that, they're not, because they're just saying yes, 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 yes to everything, and they don't understand the business plan, they don't understand the long-term objective, so they just quit, okay? So
Yes.
rebate received back to us, and that's it. Okay, so this case, you need to have judgment, okay? Because without judgment, Titan, okay, you will not understand the evidence that you presented because you won't understand what is the important part. You'll probably look at all this stuff over here and think it's correctly interpreted, but it's not really true, okay? It's basically, I know this because I've heard this thousands of times. The people who speak the most about brand are generally the people who have the worst brands. The people who have great brands are the ones that keep on working on improving the product experience and the product delight. Those are the people who have great brands, okay? So I don't see that commitment actually put into his product at this point. So, and neither does anybody else, with the exception of maybe the whatever, the view, okay? All right, so you can discount that, and that's what I would put this as, okay? This should be a out-of-boundary, non-partner alignment. This should not even be a partner here at Boca Vista because they clearly, they don't want to understand. They want to probably take advantage of us by getting a, a rebate for signing up. And yeah, that's actually probably why the rebate wasn't such a good idea, okay? All right, anyways, hopefully that makes sense, okay? So
Yes,
I'll
sir.
continue the rest of the research